So I'm going to show you how to do cable wraps on the Brother PT-7600. And please keep in mind to always use the Brother TZeFX label, which was designed specifically for cable, wire wraps, and flags. Very important. If you use a regular TZE tape or HGE tape, it will come off. So very important to use our TZeFX tape, and the FX stands for Flexible ID. So the first thing you want to do is obviously turn the machine on. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to select a cable wrap, and the way that you select that is by utilizing and pressing the label type button. When you press the label type button, you'll see the different types of labels that this machine is capable of printing. So to get to a cable wrap, we want to select on the screen a rotate and repeat. Once we get to the rotate and repeat, you want to hit the enter button. The enter button is this button right here. And going forward, every time I mention to hit that enter button, please do so on that particular button located underneath the words new block in blue. So we're going to go ahead and enter. Now, the block length. The block length is actually the length of the actual label to wrap around the cable. By default, it comes up as 1.20, and as you can see by the arrows here, again, length being the amount of tape that will be wrapping around that cable. My suggestion is for Cat 5 and 5E to put the setting, and you can change the setting by using this arrow key, and you can down arrow, you can up arrow. My suggestion is for Cat 5 and 5E to use a 0.90 setting. Let's get down there to 0.90. Now you can also just type it in utilizing the keyboard here as well. It's just easier for me to use this keypad. So 0.90 for Cat 5 and 5E. For Cat 6, I would suggest doing a 0.95, and again, you can, depending upon the outside diameter of the cable, that's how you adjust this particular length. So let's go ahead and let's leave it at 0.95, and at this point I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to wrap 12, let's just say 12 cables, and you can do 12, 24, 48, but whatever you want to do. For today's demonstrations, let's just do 12. I'm going to keep this simple. You can put anything you want as your cable ID, but let's just use the old trusty A01. Now I want the machine to do the rest of the work, so let's go ahead and let's serialize this A01. The way you serialize, again, is a two-step process, and I showed you this on the patch panel video. Same thing here. What you're going to do is, as you press this code button, you're also going to be pressing the label type button. So let's do that now. Let's do code, label type. The first screen that comes up is going to be the copies. You don't want that. You want to right arrow over to number. And again, you can either press in or use the up or down arrows. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to press in 12. I'm going to hit the OK button. Now because we're changing 2 digits here, that 0, and I'm going to left arrow over to highlight the 0. The 0 is going to eventually become a 1, and the 1 over here is eventually going to become a 2. So we're changing 2 digits here. So I'm going to hit the enter button to start on the 0, and I'm going to end by using the right arrow key. Press that to the right to highlight the 1 as well. Hit the enter. And let's go ahead and to start printing, let's just hit the enter button. we're going to get that little bit of waste that comes out, and again, you're not going to get away from that, but you're going to see to where it's only going to happen on the very first label that you print out here. So now it's safe to cut. Let's cut that waste off. Here's the waste. And here's my, as you can see on the screen, it's prompting me to cut tape to continue. If you end up pressing the cutter button earlier than you should, you're going to get a cutter error. Obviously, we don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut this. Here's my first cable wrap that came out. In the background, I'm sure you could hear it printing. So I'm going to cut the next one. Here's my next cable wrap, and again, there's no waste on these. It was just the first one. So here is A03. Here is A04. And 5. And so forth and so on. So I'm going to stop right there, but again, it shows you where you can serialize the job. You don't have to keep typing in the individual numbers. And that's really all there is to wrapping or producing a cable or wire wrap on the Brother PT-7600.